Hi guys, so this is going to be part 1 of 2 on the build on trying to get a lifting bed above the driver's area, because of this is wasted space as far as I'm concerned, as I said in a previous video. I'm initially going to make the build out of wood to try and iron out any kinks before I then make it out of metal. Obviously wood's a lot easier to correct than metal, so I'd like to have all the kinks ironed out before I weld up a frame to save a lot of cutting and messing around in the long run. As you can see, all the chairs are still in place. That's so that I can measure and get the bed to sit in the correct position of where it needs to be when it's completely down. But the very first job I need to do will be to remove this. Okay, so that's out. It was relatively straightforward, just a bunch of posi bits holding in the sun visors and some push fits up here. As soon as they were out, it slid out really easily. Next thing to do is to get out the measuring tape and start working out what I can use and what I can't. Now I've got my basic measurements, I'll begin to try and mock up some version of a frame. I don't expect it to be right straight away, which is the reason we're using wood, but got to have some version of a template to start with. Here's the crude frame, currently propped up with some blue boxes and a bit of wood, just so that I can get an idea of what's going on. I'm not trying to be a carpenter, this is just thrown together just so that I can work out measurements and visualize the plan. I'm sure that my woodwork will be open to criticism, but like again, it's going to be made from metal, not wood, so I'm not too worried about it. The straps obviously are there to prevent the front of the bed dropping too far. The trick is to try and get the right amount of strap so that it only drops down to the curvature of the roof, which I think I've managed, but we will see. So the custom rope system that I had made is finally here. As you can see, it's 4 pieces of rope and then 1 guide rope to put on the winch. They're various lengths for different corners, which are a loose guesstimate. We've got a 3.5 meter, a 5 meter, a 3 meter, 2 meter, and another 2 meter. And I've got 4 pulleys that I can mount to the roof, which I can then use to pull the bed into the ceiling. The next thing I'm going to do is make all the wooden mounts for the frame, because obviously at the moment it's just a bit thrown in, so that I could get some measurements. I want to get rid of the blue boxes and make the mounts for the side that go up to the post at the top, and then potentially put a rail on to keep the bed fixed in a permanent position so it doesn't slide forwards or backwards or left and right. But that's my aim for the day. Right, so I've made a 1 meter high platform for the bed frame to sit on, and I've made a runner to try and stop the bed from sliding forwards and backwards. Again, it's only crude because I'll make it all out of metal. The next stage is going to be to try and make it lift up and down using the ropes that I showed you earlier. I've done is I've drilled and tapped here, allowing me to add a strap, which then holds the weight of the bed at this end when the bed is down. I think I might have to put a structural brace in up here to help hold it, but that's how I'll stop this under the bed from dropping. Right, so now the bed is lifting into the roof with the ropes as intended, and all the pulleys are all fixed to the ceiling. I'm going to pull the bed back out, or the frame, so to speak, back out, modify the rail, and I'm going to try and add a linear actuator that comes in and out of here to add an extra bit of support on this corner. All automated, hopefully. Still a long way to go, but electric lifting bed that goes over the cab. Down. And up. I still have to add a few more switches for it, so it stops when it gets to the top, so I don't have to monitor it so much, and a few adjustments, and I still want to put an actuator in here, but so far it's now working. So guys, that's the end of part one. Part two is going to be building it out of steel, getting it to run a bit smoother, and adding the actuators and then the foam and everything else that actually requires to be a bed. But the proof of concept is there, so like and subscribe, follow part two, and see how I get on.